What's happening, guys? Welcome to the first episode of what we're calling the Creative Hub, apparently. This is a Ridge K Films production, so you all know me. If you don't know me, my name is Ridge, and this is Sam Fenton, coming all the way up here from Ogden, Utah. Welcome, Sam. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
So Sam is actually my best friend. Like, I've known you for how long? Dude, like...
I think over a decade.
It's been over
sure.
a decade,
yeah.
definitely. Because I first met you when I was like 13, I think.
Yeah, I remember you walked into church one time and you were just like this tall. And
well, kind of the same.
Yeah.
I haven't grown much.
No.
Never really been a super tall dude, but we met in church, and I remember when I first met you, my dad was like, "Hey, you need to come meet this kid," and he's like a BMX rider, and he's super cool, and I was so timid and shy, bro. Like, I was not the person
you would not talk.
I was so scared. I was a worthless human being. So I walked up and I went to say hi to you, and he was like, "Sam, this is Ridge. Ridge, this is Sam," and you were like, "What's up, buddy? What are you doing?" And I was just like, "Hey." and anyway, from that day forward, I always just had so much respect for you and everything that you've done and that you would accomplish, because you were this freaking... I've always looked up to you, bro. Always. And when it comes to film and it comes to video, you're the one who got me started in it ever since day one, which wasn't day one for us, but I remember that day where we linked up and you were like, "Hey, bro, I'm in this video production class," and it was in high school back in Ohio where we first met, and I've got this project going on. I want you to help me out with it. And tell me a little bit more about, like, you came to me and kind of what that project entailed and what we did.
So yeah, like I was given the assignment from my school to just create like a short film, and I had full creative liberty to do whatever I wanted. And I was the director. It was just me. I wasn't working with a group of people, with which other people for this project were working with groups. But I had just, I was like, I want to do like some like commando stuff, like shooting people and like special effects and blood. And I'm like, I really think I could pull something like this off. And so I talked to Ridge, because I knew, Ridge's dad was in the military and had lots of experience with that, and, does that for a living and stuff. So I was like, yo, I think we could do this, and we could like set your house up as the set, and his big ass house and all this stuff. And so Ridge was like, yeah. So we talked to your dad about it, and your dad was like, I am so down. And so we like fully kitted up. We got like weapons and stuff, and like we drove.
Keep in mind, we're like 15, 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And this dude's like, "Bro, I'm gonna get a handgun. We're gonna get kit. We're gonna walk in. We're gonna clear your house." And I was a bad person, a bad guy.
You're a bad guy.
I was a bad guy. I put on like...
We're PC here.
Put on the whole guy. Well, we'll probably get progressively less, but first episode, keep it clean, My audience is pretty G-rated, so... Kidding, not at all. So we got kitted up, and I was a bad guy. And you walked through the house, and you had like a shoulder cam, and I think you put a GoPro on my dad, right?
So your dad had a GoPro on his helmet, and I had a shoulder rig that I had a Canon 60D on.
Yeah.
And so I used it in my left hand so that I could use my right hand to hold the gun to look like it was a first-person shooter. So I went through the house doing that, like holding this big shoulder rig, doing all that, and that was so fun.
At the time, guys, this was like the coolest thing we've ever done. Like, it was this coolest thing. Now we look back on it and we're like, wow, that's horrible.
It was terrible. It's so cringy.
The memories, so cringy. The memories involved behind it, the process, that was the starting point of me finding my passion. And I had no idea that was my passion at the point. It was just a fun opportunity for me, right? And for those of you guys that want to see the video, which all of you, I promise you're going to want to see this. We're going to put the link below. It'll be in my bio. It'll be somewhere you'll see it. Watch this video because it's so funny. The beginning time, first video I ever made in my entire life. And I didn't even really make that one. That was all you. But first video I was like a part of. So anyway.
The fun part about it is like, because of the class, I was like taking all the proper steps for production. I scripted with you guys, you and your dad. We had a scripting meeting. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I do.
We wrote it. We were storyboarding it, and we did everything. So we had it all planned out, and then we went and shot each scene, and it was flawless. And I just remember having such a good time throwing it together, and it was the best video the class had seen out of the group of projects.
Yeah. And there was a decent amount of kids in your class.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was so fun, man. And that really, I think, is where we got our start. Like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I have always been pretty close, but I never would have expected that you and I would connect so well over video.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's such a deep connection between not just myself, but Sam as well. And, obviously there's a little bit of limbo in between there because you went and served on a mission. You served on a mission for the LDS Church, and we didn't talk for like 2 years. You came back, and there's some limbo time. But I think it was just a couple of years ago when you started to get back into the groove of it. So let's backtrack a little bit. So that's kind of like the first thing we ever did. That was way back in high school. And you did that. I think it was more so of a hobby for you at the time. It wasn't like, I'm going to do this for my career.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought it was fun, but I thought nothing of it either, right? I was still young. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so tell me a little bit about how you found your passion again within video and how it completely turned from a hobby to now this is your career. Because it's a little bit of side note, guys. So Sam, I didn't formally introduce you. Sam is awesome because he lives in Ogden, Utah, obviously. And right now he's doing a very similar thing to what I'm doing. So video strategy, right? Which is everything from video production, making tons of content, and then utilizing that content with very specific distribution plans. So that way it actually works and it does what it's supposed to do, because everybody loves videos, right? Videos are super cool, and everybody wants to buy a video, but if it doesn't accomplish the goal it's intended to do, then it's worthless.
Useless.
It's useless. And not many people know how to make the right kind of content, and they don't know how to properly leverage it. So that's where we come into play, is obviously video strategy is kind of how we refer to it as, and we basically just make some of the best content that anybody can make
here in the West.
And we know how to run it with paid advertising, organic methods, you name it. So anyway, tell me how, because you've only been doing this for
a year and a half.
Yeah, like a year and a half. And I've been kind of doing it around the same amount of time. I've been in the industry for several years, but I haven't been doing my own thing for that long. So same amount of time. So tell me how you found that passion again. What ignited that?
So it was actually like 2 years ago is what kind of ignited it. And it's taken me quite a long time to take the initial plunge to like start my business, get it going and get it running. And now it is. But, before that I was like, and you kept telling me, you got to pick up the camera, dude. You got to pick up the camera. And I had I still have it, an old Canon 60D that I had from high school. My parents got it for me as a present because I liked filming stuff. So a friend of mine was going for a job interview and was like, hey, I want to stand out and I want to do like a little mock interview and videotape it and then submit that to the people who are hiring. And so we got together at the law office that I was working at, and I set up just this little set with a little tripod that I found laying around the office and put my camera up on it. And I did the interview 3 times. And I did 3 different camera angles 3 different times because I only had one camera. And I remember you had just come to visit like a week or so before, I think. And so I had gotten set up with Premiere on my computer, like on a laptop that I was running. And I put that footage in Premiere. And I edited it together, threw some music under it, and then I sent it off to my friend for her interview. And like she loved it, and it was awesome, and it was great, and it ignited a passion that I have not been able to tone down since. I mean, I've got a lot of distractions in my life. I've got things going on. I've got important things. I've got a child.
Got a wife. Got a
I'm
dog.
married. I've got a dog, and these people are very, very important to me. But video is also, what I want to do and my passion. And luckily, my wife Steph is just so awesome, and she supports me every step of the way. And it's just been quite a wild ride just to get back and immerse myself in this world. And, here I am. I have my business going. I'm already, on retainer with a few companies, and I'm doing well, and, things are kicking off. And I just can't thank you enough for being persistent to say, hey, pick up the camera again, because look what it did for me, and now here we are today filming.
And it's just the beginning, bro.
Yeah.
Just the beginning. Man, that's crazy. Because I remember when you were going to school, because you're studying like marketing, right? When you're in college.
I went into like supply chain management, and then I switched it to like communications.
Dude, the whole time I remember when we'd be on the phone, we'd be FaceTiming when you were in the middle of going through that in college, and every time in the back of my mind, and I kind of gave you hints here and there too. I was like, bro, get out of school. I'm not, saying that school's horrible per se, even though I kind of think that. I think it's very important for people depending on obviously what you're trying to get into, right? Like, if you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, you've got to go to school for that. But for most people, especially if you want to do your own thing and you want to start your own company, school's a waste of time. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I despise it. I went to school for 1 year. I studied film at UNLV. and it was a waste of time and it was a waste of money. I learned nothing, right? You don't learn how to build a company. You don't learn how to manage people. You don't learn how to actually create and deliver results until you get out and you fail and you do it and you figure it out on your own. Right. I mean, there's no better school than that. Like, it sounds like a cliche. Sometimes people say it a lot, but it's so true. It's 100% true. So the whole time, I remember you going to school and I was just like, bro, based off like your mindset, your personality, how you talk to people, how you think about things, I was just like, bro, just get out. Just stop it.
And my whole hang up was like, I don't want to be a business owner. I don't want that responsibility. All that stuff. That was my whole hang up. It's like, I didn't think that I could do it. Right. And I remember I had a moment where it just all clicked. And I had found my passion and everything. I'm working with my buddy Adam. Shout out to Juice Tiger out there, my boy. He and I were working on a project together, and we were trying to think outside the box for a specific project. And I was limiting myself in what I was thinking. I was putting myself into a box. And then the thought just occurred to me, and it clicked in my head, like, you can do anything you want. You can put your mind to it and accomplish it. And like, that sounds super cliche. We're saying it again. But it is so true what the power of the mind can achieve. And that day, I knew for a fact that I could be successful and do what I wanted to do.
And it's unfortunate because that concept in and of itself, like we've said before, it's a cliche. Yeah, everybody says it. It's unfortunate because I don't think anybody's going to truly realize just how true that is until they've actually experienced it and they've actually tried to do it themselves. Like, when you keep your sword on the grinder, for lack of a better term, you keep that on the grinder and you just hold it and you keep grinding and you keep forging for as long as you need to. Once you accomplish what you're looking to accomplish, it changes everything. It changes your perspective on anything, and you realize, wow, I literally am in control of every aspect of my life. And the second you realize that you're in control of everything is the second that you become successful. It's the second you start to win. It's the second that your life starts to become happier and more exciting, right?
You can start to master yourself.
You start to master yourself, 100%. So totally true, bro. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it blows my mind, like, what's changed for us just in a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I mean, both of our stories, I mean, they're kind of similar in a way, but different, because I have different family dynamic. But at the same time, like, we kind of started this and we're like, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we learned from people. We learned from experiences. We learned from, going out and doing instead of just regurgitating information on a test and getting a piece of paper saying that we achieved something.
Getting a piece of paper saying you're qualified to do this when you haven't even done it.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that where we're at now, and I can't wait to see where we're at in the next year or two to see how far we can scale this thing and blow it up. But it's going to be incredible, and I think knowing backgrounds of people like us can make it easier for businesses to make that final step to go and to put themselves out there, to market themselves and make themselves visible to their customers. I think that's so vital and important to know that we care about this just as much as you out there care about your company.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. So I think with this podcast, to kind of lay out the agenda, what I want to talk about is, like, obviously talking about our background is really important, but I also want to talk about some, like, for example, we've got a couple ideas we want to talk about when it comes to the realm of marketing and different misconceptions people have within their business. What's holding them back? What is their bottleneck? Why can't they get to where they need to get to? So, valuable stuff that listeners can actually walk away and take away with and go apply. So with this podcast, the niche, who the listeners are going to be, entrepreneurs, people in marketing, people that have a business, because as we all know, when it comes to building a company, marketing is typically the bottleneck. Yeah. Typically, that's what it is. Like, so many people have great processes, they have great culture, they have great employees, they have great deliverables. Like, what they provide is great. But 9 times out of 10, why can't companies scale and get to where they want to get to? Because they're marketing.
Yeah,
right?
and I think the initial step of getting into that realm is a little bit scary, and that's why maybe they bottleneck right at that moment, because it's a risk. I mean, there's not like, I know people out there promise that you're going to see crazy results, and you will if you put the right person behind the wheel. But, like,
that's the key, though.
Yeah,
is the right person. Now, how do you know who's the right person, right? Like, that's the hard part. What I hate, and this is one of the many reasons why I got into marketing and stuff, was What I despise in the industry is how so many marketing companies or marketers overpromise and underdeliver. Like it is known.
It's
Everybody
straight up
does
dishonest.
It, straight up. Like it should be illegal.
Yeah.
Like they should be freaking burned. Not actually, but I hate that crap.
Yeah.
They overpromise and they underdeliver. It's like they promise all these amazing results. They promise X amount of impressions, which by the way are completely useless. If a marketing company is talking to you and they say, we're going to guarantee this many impressions, it means nothing. They could guarantee those impressions, but you have no idea what the quality of those impressions are. Impressions is such a generic and broad term. You don't really know what that means anyway. So anyway, marketers tend to be slimy. Obviously, I'm generalizing here. I know a lot of great marketers out there.
Yeah, same.
But generally speaking, that's kind of how the industry has laid a blanket over themselves, is that's kind of how they're known. So many people that I talk to that have companies are always talking about, yeah, I've tried it before, or I've tried running ads, or I've tried creating content, and it didn't work for me. And every single time, I'm like, okay, let me see it. Let me see the ads you run.
Yeah.
Let me see the content you made. I'll tell you right now why it didn't work. This is why. I'll lay out a piece of write on a piece of paper like this is why it sucked. This is what you need to do instead.
Whole list, laundry list full.
Straight up, yeah. Full audit. This is what you need to change. So anyway, what were some of these questions that we had on here? Because I want to talk about a couple different specific topics.
So I think the first one is, how can you as a business owner dominate your respective market?
Oh, okay. How can you as a business owner dominate in your respective market?
Yeah.
This is really, really good. What do you think so far? What do you think first?
I think
What are your
that,
thoughts?
there's more than one right answer here, but I think
Of course.
I think that something that is important for a couple of the businesses that I've worked for is that dominating your market, it doesn't mean crushing your competition. It means being you, right? It means like finding out who you are as a company, where you stand, what your brand is, how you stand apart, and then hit that lane. It's not about, oh, like we sold more than this company or we did more than that company. You're limiting yourself there. When you just, and you gave me this advice even earlier just today when we were at lunch, you said, don't worry about anybody else that's doing what you're doing, and hit your lane and hit it hard. And I think that's the same for any business that's looking to market. You're going to hit people with your ads. People are going to click. People are going to visit. People are going to buy. And that's how the world works. It's not, oh, I lost a customer because they went to somebody else. I think people get too hung up on that. That might be an issue in some fields, but I think really just focusing on what makes you different, special, and gives you the ability to have an edge.
You need to figure out what truly makes you different. What is your niche? What is that special thing about you that people love to look at, what they love to watch, right? This is super big in the real estate industry right now, is real estate agents do the same thing.
Yeah.
They do the same freaking thing. It's either one of two things. Either they just post photos of themselves because they're probably full of themselves, and I'm sorry if this offends some of you guys, but it's true. If you disagree, let me know. A lot of them tend to be kind of full of themselves, or they just simply don't have the time to put into it, which totally makes sense. Dude, agents are busy, and they just post because they know they should, and they know they need to be consistent. So like, oh, I got to make my post today. What am I going to post? Find a photo, throw it in there, figure out some motivational cliche caption and toss it in. Like, I don't blame them, because again, they're so busy. It's kind of just a small little thing they need to do just to check the box. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that within the real estate industry, it's hard for you to really figure out how to separate yourself. And it's like a full-time job. Social media is a full-time job. But when you know how to leverage it properly and you actually put in the work to really get your social media game up, it provides fruits all the time. Everybody.
It's a game changer.
It does. So you need to figure out what makes you different, what makes you special, and capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the other thing. So what's the question again?
How can you dominate your respective market as a business owner?
Okay. We'll sum it up with this one thing right here. This is how you dominate your market. Figure out what your competitors aren't willing to do, and then do that.
Do that thing.
Figure out what your competitors are not willing to do for their clients, and then you do that. So, for example, let's say, let's think of something that's like a specific industry that's kind of blanketed what somebody doesn't do.
I got a perfect one.
Okay.
Tires. Les Schwab. Do you know what Les Schwab is?
Yep.
Okay. Les Schwab. I actually used to work for them way back in the day.
Okay.
I worked for a couple months. What they do is, if you buy a pair of tires from them, anything that deals with those tires from then on is free. So if you get them rotated, like that's a free service. You can just roll up and they'll rotate them for you for free. You roll up, you have like a nail in one of them, they'll repair it, or they'll give you a new tire if it's beyond repair for free. It's under the warranty, all that stuff. You go to a place like Discount Tire or I don't know many other tire names, but like a couple other stores that I know don't offer any of that. And because of that solely, I will always go there because I know if there's ever an issue with a tire that I have, I can take it to Les Schwab. They'll fix it, worry, and I'm not going to have to pull out my wallet once.
Yeah.
And that's how they changed the game for me.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just like that, right? They figured out what are our competitors not willing to do, and we're just going to do that.
Yeah.
Right? It could be as simple as within the marketing industry, what do most marketers do? They don't offer guarantees. They can't promise anything. Now, we can't really promise anything, right? You can't do that. Yeah. But what you can do is over-deliver. Now, whether that's tossing an extra edit for somebody, just doing that, right? You didn't pay for it, but guess what? I'm going to do it for you anyway. Or being there at every beck and call. Like if they call you, they have questions that have nothing to do with what they're paying you for, provide value anyway. Help them out anyway, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not here and I'm not getting paid. Like technically I'm getting paid to provide edits, provide strategies, and
what's agreed upon in the contract.
Yeah, like exactly. Like there's stuff that's agreed upon in the contract. Clients pay me to do X, and X, right? But dude, I do so much more than that. And you can ask any of my clients. Like I'm always there.
I've seen it. I've seen all the testimonials. I've talked with them. We've worked on jobs together. Everybody is blown away and astounded at, what you are willing to do for them that other people just don't do. They're too lazy
most people say they do it.
Oh yeah.
Most people are like, "Oh, what makes you different?" "Oh, I go above and beyond." Anytime anybody says that to me, when I ask somebody what makes you different and they tell me, "Oh, I go above and beyond," in the back of my head, I immediately disregard them as a professional. Like, I don't care if that's judgmental or not, because if you say, I go above and beyond, that is the most cliche, hollow thing you could say. Because if you actually do that,
you're not going to say it.
You're not going to say it.
If you actually go above and beyond, don't brag about it. Let your actions speak about your words. Seriously. If you go above and beyond, you're going to have a company going crazy about what you do. They're going to love what you do. They're going to love and they're going to tell all their friends. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to build a name for yourself.
Dude, I don't market myself at all.
Yeah, no.
I literally can't keep up with the people that are coming to me right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Most of the time when people come to me, yeah, sure, it was because like you made a great video. I love the work that you did, whatever results, whatever. Most of the time when they come to me and I ask them what made you decide to come to me, it's just because they're like, I just heard you're a great person to work with. You know what I mean? Everybody can make a cool video. Everybody can run ads that generate a decent return. But what else really matters is who you are as an individual. Like just enjoying to work with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we can go down a rabbit hole on that. But to sum up, to dominate your industry, figure out what your competitors are not willing to do, and then do that thing.
And create the experience for the customer.
Focus on the experience, exactly. Because it's not about what you're providing as a service or a deliverable. It's about the experience as well. How can you make an experience? How can you actually deliver more than what your contract is stating? And how can you completely just over-deliver in every aspect? What's the next thing we got?
So I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. It says, why do so many companies struggle with their marketing and like what's missing from that?
Yeah. Marketing's such a broad term, bro.
Yeah.
Like whenever I meet people and I'm like, what do you do? And they say marketing.
I'm marketing.
I do marketing. It's like, okay, dude, what in marketing? Like, are you an ad buyer? Are you a photographer? Like, are you a web developer? Are you a copywriter? Like, there's so many things within marketing, bro. So
I'm in marketing.
Yeah, I'm in marketing.
Okay, Joe.
Bro.
Okay, man.
Joe, this is not directed towards you. Joe's my editor. He's a great dude.
Sorry.
I love you, Joe.
I wasn't talking about Joe. That Joe.
Yeah, we love Joe sometimes. So when it comes to why so many companies struggle with their marketing, and that's difficult to answer too, right? I'm trying to think macro level, big picture, why do they struggle? But everybody has their own problems, right? And everybody has their own specific issues that they're going through when it comes to their realm of marketing. I would say most of the time it is their... Oh, that's hard, dude. There's so many different companies. Can we maybe think of an example? Or
I've got an example for me. There's a company that I've been trying to get on with for a long time. Somebody that I used to actually be an employee of. I still technically am, but I've been trying to get this law firm into video production for a long time. I've been trying to, create ads and push stuff because they recently transitioned their niche and their market to something completely different. I won't go into specifics, but basically they changed and shifted their game plan, and it's working, but it could work so much better. And I've brought it up, given them presentations. Half of the guys are on board, half of them are old school, don't really care about it. And so like they're using some marketing company that doesn't care about who they are. They're a big, huge corporate company that just won't work with them one-on-one, explain all the details. They just take their information and go with it, right? And they're not really seeing a crazy return on it. And so, I think their hang up is, you got a lot of old guys out there that are old school. They don't really know about any of this. They might not believe in it. I don't know what the case is. But I think that in this instance, they're split down the middle because some guys are saying, we already have this. We have this company. They don't care about them. This marketing company does not care about this law firm. They're so big. They have so many clients that they're working with. Whereas people like Ridge and myself, we will work with you one-on-one and figure out what it is that you need, and we will slam that to the ground.
Yeah, like we're a part of the companies we work with. Like we're part of their team. We're not just a person that you're paying on the side to generate leads, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I think this is what it is. With the digital landscape that we're all part of now, like everything's digital, everything's online, everything is. And if you disagree with that statement, I want to say like bring it up and we can have a conversation, but it's just simply not true. It's
if you
just
disagree,
not
you're watching us right now on a digital device. So
yeah, I mean the world is digital and it's going to be even more so in the future as time goes on. So you can either jump on it now or you can drown. Here's the biggest issue. I think people have companies. Because of the fact that it's so saturated online. Everybody's online, bro. Everybody's trying to make content. And because of that, it's so saturated and people don't know how to properly separate themselves. I think that's what it boils down to. A, how to properly separate yourself, and then B, how to get that in front of the right people.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, and how to create the right content around it. Yeah. That's what it boils down to. Like you literally have to be so clear cut, no gray area. Like, why are we different? Oh, it's because of this, and that. Like nobody can touch us. Nobody can hold a candle to us. You know what I mean? It needs to be so clear cut, and you need to be so focused and so true to what makes you guys different that there's no question about what it is you're doing. And it also boils down to what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yes.
Because that trickles into how you're different, what makes you different. And I talk about this all the time. Like the people that know me know that I ask pretty decent questions to make people think, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also always asking people and reminding them, why are you doing this? Like, what is your why? And we've got 2 minutes left. So let's sum it up by saying, what is your why? And I'll say what my why is. And I think we can close it out.
I think my why has to do with the ability to meet and engage in relationships with my clients, right? I have so many awesome experiences that I've been able to go and achieve just because of the people that I work with. And it's a culture that I've cultivated in myself to go out and be uncomfortable, do crazy stuff, to go out and try new things and go upon new horizons. And I think the main reason that I do this is because I have the ability to choose what I can do with my life. And I want to make content. I want to show the world and change the world. I want to show the world that I can achieve anything that I set my mind to. And with that, you can too. Whatever company that I work for can do that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm going to agree with you on a decent amount of that. My why is ever since I made this this video for a nonprofit in Vegas. It was for a Blind Children Foundation, and it was for a school project. And I made this video. First time I ever made a video. Had no idea what I was doing, but I acted like I did, so nobody asked any questions. But I made this video, and when I presented it in front of hundreds of students within my class, and they watched this video, the emotional reaction, but not just the emotional reaction, but the actions they took, aka donating to it because of that video, freaking inspired the crap out of me. And 2 months later, they called me and they were like, that video brought us a lot of attention and a lot of donations. Thank you so much. When I saw that, I realized the true power of video.
Yeah.
And when you can harness it and you can distribute it properly and get it in front of the right people, I don't think there is anything more powerful. And I think the people that realize that sooner rather than later are going to be the ones that can leverage it properly, find the right people, aka you and I, to help deliver and execute on that, and they're going to completely dominate everybody in their industry. They're going to be able to set the standard, and they're going to be able to say, "Let's go, bitches."
Let's go. What's that?